Welcome back to episode 11 of Project X, where we're taking you on a journey with us to find and launch private label product opportunities, teaching you along the way so that you can build your own business using these same simple methods. Now, in the last episode, we finished up our two-part series on optimizing our listing from the copy side. So if you haven't watched that one, make sure to pause this and go back to episode 10. Now, what's this episode going to be about? It's still about listing optimization, but from a different point of view.
Yeah, the last one was all about the keywords and the writing. This one is arguably one of the most important aspects of listing optimization. It's all about imagery, photographs, and like digital assets pertaining to your Amazon listing.
All right, we're going to talk to you guys about what's important in product photography and how to make a game plan and execute it to get the best images for your listing. Now, if you'd like a written version of this episode, go to helium10.com/X11. That's helium10.com/X11. We've got a question for everybody out there. What's that question?
So as an Amazon buyer, when you're shopping on Amazon, what is it about Amazon images that just like completely turned you off about a listing? Like you look at this listing and you're like, oh, this product must be junk because of this on the images. I know for me, I've seen some crazy things like weird photoshopped like babies that are not even like anatomically correct, like just some weird stuff.
That's pretty weird.
So the question that we want you to post in the comments below, tell us like, what about images completely dissuade you from even being interested in that product?
Yeah, for me, it's those ones that are just obviously photoshopped, you know, where it's just like, come on, you're not even trying.
Yep.
All right, guys, my name is Bradley Sutton. I'm from Helium 10. This is
Tim Jordan from Private Label Legion.
Welcome to Project X, episode 11. So let's first talk about why images, why photography, why this part of listing optimization is so important. It's actually interesting. We didn't plan to do an episode. We were going to kind of roll it into our listing optimization, but then we decided, like, you know what? This needs a standalone episode. So why did we come to that conclusion?
Yeah, because we know that humans are visual creatures. We love visualizing things. And especially when you switch over to mobile device views, which is, I think, more than 50% now of all Amazon searches, you know, images are a huge part of what's important. And if you don't get images right on your listing, you could go from having a great product idea to horrible sales. So as Bradley just said, we actually added another unplanned episode because we felt like this warranted its own episode. And we're going to do some cool stuff in this episode. You've seen us go kind of offset a few times. This episode, we're actually going to do that a lot more than we have in the past. We're going to show you here in the Helium 10 office how we take these photos. So different things to pay attention to. But first, we're going to talk about theory and some of the things you need to be aware of. And we're actually going to look at some other listings.
All right, so let's first talk about the types of images or types of photos. I'm here on a Snapware egg tray, plastic egg tray. So this image that I have here, this is the what?
This is the main image. This is your number one image.
All right, main image, all right? Now what would you call this one?
I would call that an infographic image.
Yeah. And what can you explain to everyone what these are?
Yeah, an infographic image is basically a piece of real estate, which is that image where you're continuing to sell. This is generally, you can put like informative descriptions. You can actually type in bullet points. You can do arrows. You can do dimensions. You are giving more information because some people aren't going to look at the bullet points in the description, but if they're flipping through the images, they can actually visually see the selling points of the product that you want to communicate to them.
Now, could they have made this their main image?
No, they couldn't.
So what's the difference here between the main image and this infographic? Like, why couldn't an infographic be your main image?
Because it needs to be a white background. So let me review. Our main image is one type. Mm-hmm. Our infographic is a second type. We'll go to the third type in a second. But start understanding the difference between main images and where it's appropriate to use things like infographic images, because there are some terms of service we have to fall under, and we'll get to more of those in a second. So the third type of image generally is...
This one has it. There we go. What's this?
Lifestyle image.
Lifestyle.
So lifestyle images are super, super, super important, and you can get really creative with these, but you don't necessarily have to. They can be fairly simple, right?
Yeah. So what's the difference between a infographic and a lifestyle image?
Yeah, a lifestyle image is where you're inserting the product into its application. Okay, so you are psychologically telling people, hey, this would look beautiful in your home. This works for this application. Your kid will love this. Your dog will look super cute in this. Whatever that product is. So you are visually helping them understand where, when, and why they would use that product. So the three main types, again, are main listing images, your infographic type images, and your lifestyle images.
All right, hopefully everybody can see the screen here. I've got the first 2 rows of egg tray here. Now, can anybody, before we mention it, can anybody tell us the 3 images that are not terms of service compliant? And if you don't know, don't worry. That's why we're here to tell you. But those of you who know, go ahead and call it out. We can't hear you, but call it out.
You get brownie points. You get brownie points.
You can tell us on the AMA this Friday that, hey, I got it right. All right. So, Tim, make the first one and explain why.
Yeah, this one, and this one. Because when it comes to terms of service, one of the primary things you have to consider is the main image, the main listing image, needs to be a white background. And as you can see, they're using lifestyle photos in these first 2. So this is a lifestyle. This is a lifestyle. This is just a really bad white background photo. This is just terrible. But what's interesting is these are ranking high, even though the images aren't great, which means there's probably some product opportunity here. Now, Bradley, I'm going to quiz you now.
Okay.
You notice these 3.
Yep.
Which other images are not terms of service compliant?
Well, if we're really going to go to the letter of the law, and this is something that, actually, let's ask you guys. Those of you who got that one right, I bet you might get this one wrong. You might be saying, nah, everything looks good to me. All right. I'm going to mark some here. And now you guys tell me if you know why technically these might not be terms of service compliant. I'll give you a second. Tim, go ahead and tell them why.
All right. If you got the brownie points, great. If you didn't, it's because these images show a product that is not actually part of the listing that they would purchase or the product that they would purchase. Now, terms of service state that has to be the case, that you cannot show something that's not being shipped, all right? And obviously, these products aren't going to come with brown eggs in them, right? They're not going to ship them with eggs. However, Amazon enforces this a little bit loosely because they understand that some products just sell better when you have appropriate props in them. So obviously Amazon's not pulling these images off. And if there weren't eggs in these images, it would be really hard for someone to just look at this quickly and understand what it was. Now, where we see that most often are places like apparel. Mm-hmm. A lot of times you can have a model in that main image and Amazon's okay with it as long as you've still got a white background around that model. Imagine if you were selling a bracelet and that bracelet was on a wrist, you might be able to get away with that as long as the rest was white image. The other place that you see that a lot is clear objects, all right? I know there's a huge list. I'm just going over some of the most common ones. Clear objects are really hard to photograph if you don't have a prop in them. You see that these clear egg trays, it'd be really hard to tell what those are if there weren't eggs in them. Think about something like a wine glass. A clear wine glass or a clear whiskey glass or something is really hard to tell what it is just from initial image because it's clear unless you have something in it. So a lot of times Amazon will let you get away with pouring, wine into this glass or something like that for that image. So keep in mind that what we are going to do on some of our images, in fact, we'll probably try it with some eggs in it. And what the Amazon terms of service loosely state are a little bit different. So keep that in mind. If you potentially have violated terms of service for this reason, generally Amazon will let you get away with it. And if they don't, they're just going to suppress your listing and you just have to switch pictures. So later on, when we actually take pictures, we'll have a couple different options, picture with eggs, picture without, and we might be able to swap them back and forth and see what happens.
Yeah. All right. So now what I'm doing right here while Tim was talking is I am running X-ray on this. And X-ray by Helium 10 has this feature where it kind of tells us how many images the listings have. And this is something that I think we talked about in the earlier episodes when we were doing our product research, that it's not a deal breaker, but I love to see, page results where there's listings that only have 1 or 2 or 3 images. And that just makes me feel like, okay, I'm immediately going to have an advantage over these sellers because I'm going to come in with a lot more images than that, and that's going to be more attractive. All right, so let me show you guys an example here. This one here, as you can see, it says there's only 1 image, so we'll open that up, and then let's contrast that with one that has more here, okay? So take a look at this image. All right, exactly as I said. Now, right here, we've got the listing evaluation result from Helium 10 and saying, hey, this is a low score. Why? it's fewer than 7 images. The main image is not on a white background. That's the other no that we talked about. And then of course there's other things that they're doing wrong that we talked about in the last episode about listing optimization. So like we said, usually when if they're dumb enough to not have full set of images, they're probably too dumb to make a good rest of the listing. So it's usually a good indicator. So what here's this. So guys, take a look at this. Regardless of this is obviously not terms of service compliant, but even if that was a great picture, still one picture, think of that in your head, compared to something like this, where we have multiple images, different angles. We've got a lifestyle image. We've got images of the lid, separately. A close-up. They don't have, they've got infographics to show the size. So think about, as a buyer, which one would you be more willing to buy if both things were equal? What about you? You pick this one, right?
Yeah, if I'm making a purchase decision, I want to see more images. I want to see more information. So of course I'd pick this one.
So what's the kind of rule of thumb about how many images people should have in their
Use
listing?
as many images as you can. And generally that's going to be 7 images, all right? There are some categories where you can add another 8. And if you have a trademark and enhanced brand content, you can actually get up to like 9 or 10 in most categories. So generally speaking, the rule of thumb is 7. So a lot of these listings also have a video. Some categories you can get a video in, some you can't. Some sellers can get it, some can't. Find out if you can put a video in your listing. And if you can, it's not a terrible idea, but it's definitely not a deal breaker.
All right, so they've got a couple of videos here. I'm not even seeing the egg tray here. So as you can see, iDesign here, they've got 2 different videos that they're put in their listing. So how did they get this video? Again, can anybody just go ahead and put videos, the new ones here?
No, they've got enhanced brand content because they've got an actual trademark registered brand.
And then because of that enhanced brand content, they also get this kind of like, do they still call this like A++ listing or something like that?
Yeah, they call it different things for different categories. Yeah. But when you see these like awesome listings with all these different images, it's because they've went ahead and gotten enhanced brand content. If you have a trademark in EBC, we're not going to get into this really super complex listing asset location. We're just going to basically keep this episode dialed down to those 7 images.
Yeah, so if you see something like this when you're doing your research and you're like, oh, they must have some special HTML that maybe I can do that. You can't just do that. No, only if you have enhanced brand content, but it kind of opens up a lot of other opportunities for imagery. Like these images here are not the same ones that are up here on the top of their listing. So that's just something that, once you get brand registry, you should definitely look into because it helps your conversion a little bit. Let's keep going now. Let's talk about the niche themes. We talked about that in the last episode, about like title length. We had shown you, I think it was collagen peptides where everybody had long titles, right? We showed you accordion where everybody seemed to have short titles. So it's a similar thing with the images. You want to look at what's the niche theme because these are the products that are doing well on Amazon. And so you kind of want to, not rock the boat too much, but still differentiate yourself. So is there anything that jumps out to you about the niche theme here? I see a very clear theme here for the main image for the top selling egg trays.
Yeah, that they all have eggs in them.
They all got eggs in them. Now notice too, they're not white eggs because again, just like with clear things, it probably would be a little bit difficult to show that, so that's why they pick brown eggs. And it's all kind of like a similar angle or like, we're not looking straight down, at the product. So they might have had images like that, but over the last year that people have been selling egg trays, they notice, well, people aren't really relating much to this image. It looks kind of ugly just looking down. So that's why they have it at kind of an angle here.
That's really good for us to know that to align ourselves with a different product, we still need to stick with that theme. Angle, put some brown eggs in them.
By the way, here's I don't think we've shown the actual production model yet, right?
No. So
this is our first production sample.
So today we're going to be videoing this egg tray. What's different about the ones that were our samples is we got our samples from a different supplier because we could order like 20 or 30 of them. And we actually went through and found that we could shrink the size of our finished product, still fit the same number of eggs, but because that size matters with your FBA listings, it actually reduced the cost for shipping, for FBA fulfillment, all that stuff. And this is actually acacia wood, which is cool. I didn't even know that was really an option, but we found out there's actually some keywords and some popularity for acacia wood in kitchen accessories. So today, we're going to be photographing this egg tray. We're also going to be photographing our Manny's Mysterious Oddities coffin shelf too.
All right, so let's first talk about this egg tray. The important thing to do is we're gathering this information here so we can have a game plan of what we're going to tell our photographer. Now, we have an in-house photographer. Obviously, here at Helium 10, we've got a full design team and graphic team, so it's kind of easy for us. But that's not to say it's going to be hard for you guys. Somebody in your family might be a graphic designer. If not, you can go outsource it. There's companies who do it locally. You can go and hire a VA to do your graphics. But it's important, it's because that you have a good game plan, because it's going to be garbage in, garbage out, all right? The graphic designer has no idea they're not doing market research on what looks good for egg trays, everything we're doing, or they're not going to look into the niche themes. They're 100% relying on the information that you give them for the game plan. So Tim, let's get our game plan for this. I'm going to say for the first thing, for the main image, we'll take a snapshot of this and show them, hey, look what, this kind of angle, maybe put, the interesting thing though with this, we'll test it out, but maybe we'll ask them to test it with some white eggs too, because since this is not clear, the contrast might actually work.
Yeah, so I think that we're gonna have 3 options for our main image. One is just the tray without eggs, in case Amazon says, hey, you need to have it without the eggs. Then we're gonna do one with brown eggs, and then we're gonna do one with white eggs. So we'll get to different selection and things later, but we're gonna have some different images there. So we know we've got our main image. The rest of the images, I think that we can do some different things. I think that we need to have at least one infographic image, and I think that in the infographics we can do 1 or 2 images. I think one needs dimensions. That's always important. Okay. Remember, we can do some bullet points, so we can either do 1 or 2 infographics that have the bullet points like this.
Yeah.
And when I say bullet points, I don't mean the exact listing bullet points, but just sales points. Just like, hey, you should buy our product because of this. So we'll play with some different options there. I think that because this is such a pretty item and people are going to use this as a decorative option for their other egg cartons, I think we need at least 3, maybe 4 lifestyle images.
Okay.
So as we're doing this, whether you're doing this yourself and then sending the images to some sort of graphic designer, you're outsourcing this to a product photography company, make sure to get a few more images than 7, right? Because you want options. So I'd get a couple main images, 2 or 3 infographics if you can, and 3 or 4 lifestyle if you can. That way you can mix and match. Go back down. That was another interesting thing. Down one more. So what's interesting is they decided to quadruple up on their lifestyle images. This is pretty smart. And they've got a detail image in the middle. I didn't mention detail images before, but we've seen it. That's where you like hone in on one specific detail. Some products that's good, some that's not.
They got a hand model too.
Yeah, we don't necessarily need the detail images for this, but this is super cool too, how they did this. And it's funny, they're actually using multiple products. They're not just eggs. They're putting, it looks like dim sum, so dumplings in their listing here. So,
and that's something you got to decide too. They're using a hand model here. It doesn't mean for your lifestyle images you have to have a model. Just know that if you do that, okay, well now that kind of changes your option. You can't just necessarily get a VA. From I've gone to Bangladesh, a few times, and I've gone to Philippines. It's a little bit harder for them to go and get model and do a photo shoot. A lot of them are graphic designers, so you might have to go with somebody locally who can contract a model here to take these. So it's not necessary, but it does kind of add something, because especially like this only shows the hand. You can't really relate to somebody's hand and oh, that hand looks like mine. But if your customer avatar is a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home dad, well, you would have maybe a mom or dad aged person like in an apron, cooking or something, if that's your customer avatar. And then again, you're making that emotional connection. So we talked about emotional connection in your in the last episode about the bullet points and description. It's just as important, if not more, to make that emotional connection with the images, because it's more powerful than just text. So really, all of that research that we had done about some of the things that were on people's minds, you remember about easy to clean. Mm-hmm. So maybe we'll have a picture of our hand model. Maybe we'll grab somebody here at the office putting this in the dishwasher, to hit that easy to clean emotional connection. Maybe we'll have them, preparing some eggs or whatever the case is, but you're trying to really just like connect with them on that emotion, that subliminal level that, hey, this could be you. We're showing you that you could use this product exactly how you had it in mind, guys. This is so, so important. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and keep looking a little bit more on this egg tray and get some ideas, take some screenshots. We'll give it to Mika, our photographer. And then the thing that I like to tell them is like, hey, this is what's working for the competition. So let's go with this kind of theme, just make it better. And they understand what that is.
Yeah, and another great thing that we can do to get inspiration and guidance for our designers or our graphic artists or photographers is look off of Amazon. I know you've seen this website several times in this Project X case study. Let's go to Pinterest. Pinterest is all about just imagery, like beautiful images. And a lot of times there's some super creative products on Pinterest. So you can see our most recent searches. Look, it's a combination of egg trays and coffin boxes.
Browsing history is.
So what I'd like to do now is let's talk about the coffin boxes, because the coffin boxes are going to need some really cool lifestyle images to really portray what it is. So we can look at all of these cool images here, like we're pulling up on Pinterest, even if it's not the exact same products, the general theme. So we're looking not at just what's sitting on the shelf, but we're also looking at like what other type of products are around it, what themes around it. I think that there's going to be ideas we can get that maybe even move between different niches. So we can scroll down here, and of course we see like the Gothic decor, some Halloween type of stuff. Yeah, I don't understand.
That's creepy. We got Tweety, and then what is that?
I don't know what that is.
I don't even know what the heck's going on there.
That's some weird stuff. Keep scrolling down. Let's find some small ones. Oh, this is interesting. This isn't one we really thought of. This kind of crystals. Like, so it looks like they're using different crystal themes.
Interesting.
Some sort of something. So,
but look here too. There's some ideas, not necessarily what to put in it, but kind of like to set the mood for that. Again, a lifestyle image. So we see a skull here and fur or whatever the heck that is. A black rose. So that definitely goes with the theme.
So literally, what we're going to do is we're going to show these images to someone here in the office. They're going to go just buy a bunch of props that fit within these themes based on this kind of overall theme we're looking at. We're going to show this to our photographers and graphic designers and give them some themes to work with.
Now, one thing that's important, we talked about it a few minutes ago, of how, let's go back to the main image we had said about this. Now, we had said, hey, maybe white eggs would work on this. But then remember what Tim said, hey, we'll try it with white, we'll try it with brown, maybe we'll try it without. Here's the thing. Don't lock yourself into just one exact kind of picture, all right? For each of your 7 pictures, have different options, because here's the thing. Regardless of how confident you are of what you think is going to resonate the best, half the time, if not 75% of the time, guess what? You're wrong. It doesn't matter what you think. It matters what your customer thinks. So
Sure.
Don't be so prideful that, hey, I'm an expert on egg trays. I know exactly what's going to resonate, or I've done the best research. It could be completely, I've seen it so many times, it could be completely opposite. Now, how do we know it's the opposite? Another thing Tim mentioned is, hey, ask your friends and family, hey, which one would you pick? Like, make sure that, they don't know which one is yours, or if it's all your images and it doesn't matter, but like have a picture of what you had in mind and maybe some of your competitors and show it to some people. All right. We'll do that here at the office, not necessarily with the competitors, but maybe since we are going to have different shots, the brown one, the white one, the multicolored one, we'll walk around. Maybe you think we can film that? Maybe.
Yeah, we'll film that here in the office.
We'll film that after we get ththese images back, walking around the office, and I'll take a tally. If you live in the middle of the woods, 100 miles from civilization, you don't have, an office full of people you can ask. There's websites. We'll put some information on that in the show notes. I like using pickfood.com. If you go to Pickfood, you can within 1 hour, it costs money. You can pay them to poll 50 Amazon Prime customers.
Yep.
And not only do they pick which one they like, but they have to, it's part of their contract because they're getting paid to do this. They have to write why. So you get tons of great insight. But again, the main key is don't be so prideful that you think you know what's best, because I've made that mistake. I'm sure Tim's made that mistake. And then all of a sudden people's like, oh, that's an ugly picture. I'm like, what? What are you talking about, Willis? That's a great picture.
So I like the expression measure twice, cut once. Remember, this is not a test listing. It actually matters now that we get deep into these details, because this is our business. This is our profit. This is our success or fail. We have to do this right. So take lots of images, have lots of options, test by asking different people, sampling. And then even once you get your listing cranked up, you can actually switch images in and out in different locations and try until you really find that really good balance. If 6 months down the road, you're not happy with the images, take more images and update them. That's perfectly acceptable. So I think that right now we're going to take some images. We're going to do lifestyle. We're going to do maybe some detail pictures and some infographic pictures. We're going to poll some people. By the end of this episode, we will have some pictures selected. We'll be able to put them into our listing that we've already optimized with keywords and copy, and then carry on from there, moving towards the launch, right?
Yeah, so let's go ahead and show Mika what we have in mind. Maybe hopefully we can get some footage of her taking some of this photography for people who might want to do it, yourself. So she can tell us some do's and don'ts really quick. And then from there, we'll get those images
edited
up, like the raw images. You don't want to just upload it like that. You got to edit it. And then I'm going to take those and I'm going to walk around here at the office and just see what people think. We'll get some footage of that and make our final decisions. And then, we'll be able to go ahead and complete our listing. And then we'll come back and close the episode.
Okay, cool. Let's go. Remember, the elements of your photos don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have a brand new refrigerator to take photos in your refrigerator. You don't even have to have a amazing photography studio. You can do this in your house. This is the office refrigerator. We're just making it look pretty good. So don't feel like you have to overdo anything.
All right, so in our company Slack channel, Mika put out a Dropbox of pictures. So we're gonna have them first vote on the white background image, all right? So the main image of the coffin shelf and the egg tree. Let's see, and I'm gonna take notes. Let's see what people pick. Fernando's got it open already here. So you're looking at the egg tray. So So for the egg tray, which one do you think is best for the main image of those three?
This one right here.
So the brown eggs.
The brown eggs, because there's so much texture to the individual eggs, and they each feel like their own individual masterpiece.
Okay, how about for the coffin shelf?
The coffin shelf. Okay, let me tell you real fast. All right. Well, obviously this one because it has stuff in it.
Okay.
Because it has proportion. Because without these, you might have a tough time visualizing how big this is.
Good point.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Fernando.
For sure.
Arpita, what do you think? So, of the egg trays, is there one that you think that you would click on more as an Amazon buyer?
No, I like to go for
the coffin shelf one?
Yeah.
Okay, so again, another vote for the stuff inside. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, for the other one though, we still need to pick one of those. So if this one is this one. So if you had to pick one of these,
I would like to go for this.
no eggs.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. Thank you very much. All right. So why do you pick that one?
So the white contrasts with the wood, so I can see the wood much better.
Oh, good point.
So I like, and then for this, the coffin, I like this one, just because in the other ones, you can kind of see a little bit of imperfections. I'm kind of a perfectionist when it comes to choosing products on Amazon. So I would probably
Ooh, yeah.
this one for sure. It looks really creepy.
Okay, stuff inside. All right. How about for the 3 egg trays?
The one with the brags. They're bread eggs.
The brags?
The brags.
That's brown eggs put
Yeah,
together? Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know about that. Okay. Brags. All right. And why?
It just draws the eye more.
So I actually really like this, but not as the main image.
Okay.
I want the main image to focus only on the product.
Okay.
I like this because it shows more of the dimensions, right?
Good point.
This one right here, you can't see how deep it is. So for me, for a main image, this one's the winner.
Okay.
Because you can see the depth, you can see exactly what you're getting. It makes it easier for the potential buyer to envision the dimensions and how much space it's going to take.
All right. And then for the egg tray?
So I really, really like this image. The only problem is it gets blurry back here. And while that's an awesome effect, usually not for a
main
product image.
Okay.
Just because you really want clarity.
Okay.
This one, according to Amazon, would be the best just because it doesn't show you anything that you don't get. However, it's kind of bland. So again, image 2 was my pick. Just because I think anything that allows the potential buyer to actually envision them using it in their own home is as soon as you win that image in their head, you win the sale.
Okay. All right, so we've got I've already taken a lot of notes here. We've already got a lot of great input, and this is the reason why I do this. About 90% of what everybody said are things that maybe Tim probably wouldn't have even thought about. I wouldn't have thought about the eggs having personality like Fernando said, or some of the depth that Anthony mentioned, because I was so used to those pictures on Amazon where it doesn't show the depth, and I just figured that that's standard. But yeah, that's a great point. So this is why you have to kind of do crowdsourcing to really, get some ideas, because don't just think that you know everything about your product and you know the best way. You're not buying your own product, other people are. So I'm gonna go ahead and look on our Slack channel to kind of tally up all the other replies, and then we'll make our decision based on that. All right, guys, here I am in my office, and I'm kind of have a conundrum here. There's a vocabulary word of today. What's going on is I kind of tallied what everybody said here in our Slack channel, and then what, we just went over in the office, and there really wasn't a complete consensus. Like I didn't get a feeling on the egg tray that one was a clear winner. And guess what? That might happen with you guys sometimes. If you're asking your friends and family, you might find that, 3 people say this, 4 people say this, and 3 people say another thing, right? So it's not like a clear winner. So in cases like this, and just in case you might not have friends or family, hey, I'm not judging. I don't have many friends, but if you don't have many friends or family around that you can ask, what can you do in order to really make sure that you have a image or some kind of listing that is attractive to the most of your target market? Well, in a lot of our case studies, I use this service called PickFu, PICKFU.com. And basically what it is kind of a way to do polls to certain demographics of people so that we can have an idea of what the consensus is. And the reason I love PickFu is that I can target, men, or target women, or target certain age groups, or even in this case, what I want to do is I want to just target Amazon Prime members in general. They actually have a thing where I can choose Amazon Prime members, and how this is going to benefit me is I'm going to ask 50 of them this question, and I can get a response super fast, sometimes less than an hour, sometimes less than 30 minutes. I'm going to get a reply from 50 different people, and not only are they just going to tell me which one they like better, but kind of like when I was walking around the office, they have to actually give me an explanation of why they liked it. So let's go ahead and set this up. Down in the show notes, we'll put the link. It'll be pickfood.com/helium10 if you guys want to give it a try. But this is exactly, let me just take you step by step. This is exactly the steps that I'm going to take in order to hopefully get a better idea of what main image is going to stand out the best for the egg tray. So here I am on PickFu's website. If I didn't know how to work, I can do it here in 60 seconds. I can do open-ended feedback, right? Or I can do votes and explanations. So I want to do votes and explanations. I want people to vote on which one they like the best and give the explanation of why. So my question I'm going to put here is, which would be the best main image that shows up in Amazon search for a wooden egg tray? I'm going to put in here eggs not included in actual product, just in case there's any question about that. So let's see. There it is right there. There's my question. And let's go ahead. I'm going to choose the audience. Okay. All options require value. All right. What did I do wrong here? Oh, I didn't even put images. Duh. All right. Here we go. Let's go ahead and put image. And I'm going to put 3 images here. Or 4, actually. Let's do this one. Let's go ahead and put the one that had the brown and the white eggs. We'll add a 3rd option. And I want to put the one that had all white eggs. And then lastly, let's add a 4th option and put one that had no eggs. Okay, so here now I have 4 options. All right. So now can I go to the targeting? There we go. So how options are shown, ranked polls, shown all at once, ranked top 3. Yeah, that's what I want to do. And then let's go to the audience. Okay, here we go. So I am going to do a targeted audience. I don't want just the general audience. I want to do a targeted audience. So I'm going to hit this and choose custom audience. Now, as you can see, I can do it based on age range, alcohol, like beer drinker. Like, I don't think beer drinkers necessarily are going to use egg trays, but all I want is Prime members. Boom. Amazon Prime membership. All right. That's just me for right now. I can do more audience targeting if I want. And basically that's it. I'm just going to go ahead and check out here. And like I said, this is going to take about 30 minutes to an hour to get all the responses. And then we'll hop back on here so that we can take a look at it. All right, guys, we're back here. The poll is already finished. And check it out. We got 50 people to reply. All of them were Amazon Prime members. And take a look here. We have a clear winner with a score of 60. It got 30 first place votes, 7 second place votes, and 12 third place votes. And you could see that it totally crushed the competition. Like nobody, it got by a factor of 3 better than second place, which is the one with the white and the brown eggs. So now, to me, it's like pretty clear, and probably to you guys too. But just in case, if I want to understand a little bit more of the psychology of what went into this and why did so many people pick, I can scroll down here and I could say, show me all the ones that were from males or females. And then here we go. This person said they chose it because they like that the first one shows it's partially filled so you can really see the use and the size of the tray. I'm being able to see how well the eggs, this person didn't like any of the pictures. I'm being able to see how well the eggs fit into the rack as well as how it looks partially empty. And look at this. It shows like how it's filled and empty. Yes. I like how it shows both the eggs and the holes. One with just the holes, it's hard to know what it is. That's a great point right there. All right, so I can like go in and read all of these. But as you guys can see, we pretty much have a consensus on what the top picture is going to be. So guys, again, pickfood.com/helium10. That's an affiliate link, and you can actually, because of that, get 50% off your first one. But I've used this a lot of times to get insight. And so if you ever have doubts on what the main one is, like if your friends and your coworkers are not enough to kind of come to a consensus on what the best image is going to be, definitely use PickFu. And you can even go down and dirtier. Like let's say you have got a product that is a makeup product. Well, do you want men replying to your makeup product? Probably not, depending on the kind of makeup. So you might target, females from a certain age range. If you have like arthritis cream, you might want to target people of a higher age range. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can do here. And the cool thing is that I'm not waiting to do a split test once my listing is live. If my listing is live, sure, I can go in and for 1 week show one picture and then another week show another picture and see what gets the best hits and everything. But I want to launch this product. I don't want to be testing it as I'm launching and kind of screwing up my whole launch process. So this is going to be super important, guys, about getting before your launch, getting your images to a point where you can be pretty confident that you're choosing the right ones. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to go back to our tequila room where we're filming in with Tim, and let's go ahead and close up this episode. All right, we're back. Tim, what do we do?
So we've got our images now. We've got the photography done. We've gotten some opinions on which images are best. And now we've got all 7 images loaded up in both these listings. You can see kind of how we've done that. In fact, you can actually go to Amazon.com and find this product right now because it's live, and you can go through our listings and you can check out the images.
Unless it's sold out by the time that they, because it's so popular, it's sold out that they don't even see it.
That would be awesome. We'll see.
How cool is that? No, anyways, guys, I hope you guys learned a lot in this episode. Again, in review, number 1, we talked about why it's so important to even have great images. We talked about the do's and don'ts, about the Amazon terms of service. There's definitely some things, having a white background in your main image. What else did we talk about?
Yeah, we talked about getting ideas for different images. We talked about inspiration. We talked about making sure that you are investing a decent amount of time, energy, and effort in these images because they are important, because people are creatures of visualization. They need to see these. You can use this real estate to put extra details and bullet points and infographics in. Going back to the terms of service also, I know there are a lot of naysayers who are going to say, what about all these, these huge lists? I know there's a huge list. We don't have time to go into all of it. Check the show notes. The show notes below there is a link to actually go into Amazon's terms of service policies for images. So keep an eye on that.
All right, we talked about the types of images, how many you should probably have. This was an image-centric episode. I hope you guys have a good image in your mind now of what you need to do with your images. So now that we have our list, he doesn't like my humor. Now that we have like our listings all done, what's there left to do?
Next thing is to get those things launched. So we've got our products, we've got our listings ready. It is go time. So when we come back on the next episode, which is going to be episode 12, we're actually going to get into the psychology of different types of launches, right? There's a lot of ways of doing this, and we're going to talk about a two-step approach that I kind of came up with in a way to visualize that and explain that to you. We're going to talk about setting up your PPC. We're going to talk about all sorts of awesome stuff to actually get this rolling, and you can just watch us set that all up live. It's going to be really, really cool.
So make sure to, if you haven't yet, subscribe down below so you'll be notified when that one launches. And don't forget, every Friday, we've got to Ask Me Anything that is live. Tim and I will be going on to answer questions that you guys might have about something that you've seen in this episode or another episode. So let's go ahead and close it off with a question. So one thing that I get tons of questions for in the Helium 10 users group is just general questions about photography. So I'm just curious, what's your biggest question about product photography as it pertains to Amazon? We'll try and get to those answers on our Ask Me Anything episode. Again, helium10.com/X11, helium10.com/X11. With that, I'm Bradley. This is
Tim.
Thank you for watching Project X. We'll see you in episode 12.